Yeah. Going live.
Yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
guys? Young Twisty here, host of Chop O'Clock, and today I'm coming at you with something new. I haven't done a story time on this channel. That was more of a podcast thing, but I got to get this shit going, and I got a special guest today. I'm with
Lunatic, what's
Yeah,
good?
yeah. And before we get into the story time, you already know. Let's get chopped. Cheers.
Yeah, yeah.
That was very interesting one. If you guys are wondering why I am not taking a bowl right now before we get into this is because I have actually quit chops for a little bit of time because I had a bad experience on one the other night. But that's for another time.
He
But
puked everywhere.
a giant puddle. It was huge.
It was like a water fountain. Blech.
Yeah, like fucking some shit out of The Exorcist. but as that, I'm gonna get into this story time. This one is about me and Rebel. If you don't know Rebel, which if y'all are OGs of this channel, of course y'all know Rebel. We started this shit together.
Rebel Mulligan.
Yeah. I missed that fucker. But the story had to do with me and Rebel and a family that I used to be a part of, if that makes sense. So you'll understand in a second. So this story starts out in Ceres, California, and I don't know why I just said the exact location, but fuck it, I don't care. And we got to give the characters in this name so I don't get sued. So let's just, you already know Rebel, but there was three main characters in this story that I have to give names. So let's just say this is how it starts out. It was my ex mother-in-law's boyfriend. There was some shit going down that day, and I woke up. They were fighting, and he left. And let's just say his name is Connor. So Connor left after him and Teresa were fighting. That's going to be my ex mother-in-law's name. So him and Teresa were fighting. So he decided to leave, and this is what I woke up to that morning. And I guess she had some of her friends, and I'm not going to give them names in this because they're not exactly main characters. But I guess she got some of her friends to come help her like move out the house because we were moving and shit. And there were like three tweakers. There was this one big bald guy that looked like Sloth from the Goonies, and I think we're just gonna name him Sloth in this one. And there was two other tweakers, and that was just her friends. I'm not even gonna give them names because it's not that important. But that's how it starts out. So later on, like 2 hours after he leaves, he's still gone, and they pull up. I guess she doesn't want him to come back, and she says, "If he comes back, I need y'all to beat his ass," because she didn't want him coming back to the house. So we're sitting in there moving out, and the tenants that we live with, there's a reason I'm saying this, they did not fuck with us. They did not fuck with us. You'll get that later. But we're in the midst of moving out, and then Connor pulls up, I guess, it was like 3 p.m. and it was just me and the three tweakers. The three tweakers were outside right when he pulled up, and I ran out there because I heard a bunch of yelling and shit, and I was like, "What the fuck?" So I guess he's back, and he's telling the tweakers, like threatening them, but he's sitting in his car yelling threats out the window, not doing shit because he's a pussy. And the tweakers, one of them grabs a brick, fucking chucks it at his window as hard as he could, and that shit, psh, and so the fuck Connor backs up, and he fucking puts it in reverse and then puts it in drive, and he fucking just drives hella fast towards us and fucking hits two of the tweakers. One of them went flying into the fence, almost hits me. I moved out of the way just in the midst of time, and then he puts it back in reverse, and everyone's throwing shit at his whip at this point. I grab a bowl or something, like it was like a half broken bowl, and I just chuck it at his car because I wanted to be a part. So I chuck it at his car, and he drives off. I guess later on we find out he crashed down the street because he was tweaking hella hard on meth, and he crashed down the street, and they arrested him. Teresa later on in the night, supposedly she's getting threatening calls from Connor's parents saying that they're going to get their people on them, and Rebel actually ended up coming over, and I was chilling with Rebel and my sister-in-law who had a baby and her husband. And the baby was outside, And while we were hearing this shit, we thought it was just bullshit because the call stopped coming in, and we were like, all right, he's locked up, he can't do anything. Like, what the fuck? Like, so later on that night, we're chilling outside with Mia, the little kid. Um, fucking, we're chilling out there, and we just see a bunch of like two cars pull up, and they're bumping hella loud. And then they're sitting out in front of the house talking to our tenants, which I guess we found out that was the tenant's son, and he was with a bunch of his friends. They're bumping, and then they just start dogging us, bro, like dogging us. And then one of them pulls out a taser and just starts fucking cracking his taser. I'm just like, what the fuck? And there's a whole ass kid outside while this is going on. So one of the tweakers, I guess, walked over to him and was like, hey, like, there's a kid outside. Like, if y'all are here for funk, come another time, bro. There's a whole kid here. And then they were like, oh, it's good. We're here for funk, but we'll be back. And then they start pulling off. So I walk out because I heard them. I walk out and I'm all fucking throwing Modesto up at them and shit. I'm all like, fuck you. Because I guess they were like some white boys, some fucking, I don't know. But I just start throwing shit up at them just to fuck with them because I guess they were like Keys white boys or something. You heard of them?
Mm-mm.
They were Keys Peckerwoods. Yeah, Keys white boys. That's what they're called. I start throwing Modesto up at them. Just, the 209, like, fuck them. And they brought it off, start yelling threats and shit. They're driving off in a Chrysler. So we're sitting out there with the kid, and we're like, okay, we need to scope shit out because they're coming back. If they are coming back, we need to be in our 10 toes. So we're outside just chilling. We're bumping music outside, just vibing out there at this point. We're smoking and shit. And the kid was inside. The kid came back outside, and they pulled up 5 minutes later. They pull up 5 minutes later after the kid comes outside. And, bro, this was, bro, you're going to love this. It was some clown car shit. One 4-door Chrysler, 10 Peckerwoods hopped out of there. 10 of them out of one car. And then wait a second. 3 more people come out the trunk. 13 people in one 4-door car. And the people that come out the trunk, because you know how Peckerwoods only roll, they're supposed to, like, supposedly they only roll with like white people or something like that. And just to clarify, I'm not on that shit. I'm just explaining the politics of what was going, like how it works. Fucking, there was a black guy, a Mexican guy, and another white boy hopped out the car. And then I was hella confused. I was like, what the fuck? They're throwing keys, white boys and shit. They all come out with weapons. All of them come out with weapons. The first thing I see is a pickaxe with a long handle. Like, the handle's like this long. It was one of those pickaxes. So I grabbed that. Darren comes up behind me, looks at me, he's like, hey, and he grabs it out of my hands, and I'm just like, and I'm looking for a new weapon because all of them got weapons. One of them had a fucking metal pole or some baseball bat, weird looking thing. One's got 2x4. One's got a taser. One's got a knife. One's got a fucking strap. But they're not. I think it's a CO2 because they weren't using it. Fucking. So I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on? All these fuckers either got 2x4s, poles. Some of them got bats. Like, what? So I'm looking for what I can use as a weapon. And like, I look and I see 3 bikes. 2 were just stripped off, and they were just the bike frames, and then one was a full bike. Fuck it. I grab a bike frame first, and then I just chuck it at whoever I see. I'd pull that bitch over my head, I'd chuck the bike frame, and then I grab the other bike frame, and then I'd chuck that. And then here comes the bike flying at them. So I knock over at least 2 people. And I don't know how 3 bikes, I missed twice and then hit 2 people the last time. And then I run out of them, like, okay, I got nothing now. I'm just going to have to run into this shit. So one of these fuckers were coming up to me. They're like, hey, white boy, come catch my fade. Come catch my fade, white boy. I was like, you're a white boy too. All right. And I went up to him, and he from out of nowheres, because I thought he had nothing. I was like, okay, finally someone doesn't have a weapon. I ran up to him, and I was like, ready. And I fucking go to throw a punch, and this fucker pulls out a metal pole and smacks me in the head. I was like, what the fuck? I ate that shit. And then Darren comes out right behind him, fucking gets the pickaxe, brings it over his head. right in the back of his spine. And then this fight goes on for like 5 minutes, and Rebel actually brought the kid inside because he didn't want the kid to be exposed to any of that shit. So Rebel wasn't in the fight. He grabbed the kid and just ran inside. But after that, I see Rebel come out at the end of the fight with a knife. Rebel just runs out like this, like okay, what's my move? What's my move? And then right as Rebel comes out, whoop, 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 I was like, oh shit! And then all the woods just start fucking like they're scattering over the fence, bro. They're like climbing like spider monkeys over that fence, like. Like so you see, like you're trying to get into the next country type shit. It's crazy. I was like, bro, these fuckers are like dead ass white boys climbing over that fence like some goddamn spiders. Like they looked like bugs, bro. It was funny as hell. Like I don't know how to explain that shit, but that happens, and I'm just standing there. I don't give a fuck. The cops can't do shit. I don't got no evidence that I did anything. I was defending myself. And then they come out and they start trying to ask me questions, and they're like, "Hey, were you out here fighting?" And I was like, "I was defending myself, and I'm not saying nothing else." And they were like, "Defending yourself from what?" And I looked at the cop and I said, "I'm not saying nothing else." And they asked me why, and I said, "Because I don't talk to pigs. I don't talk to pigs. That's why I just don't like cops." So like, why don't you like cops? I'm like, "Because I don't." So I walked inside. Walked inside, shit died down. The cops finally left. They didn't have no evidence to arrest anybody that was there. I guess they caught some of the other people that were running the woods or whatever. This is where the story gets to a climax. So everything chills out for like at least 3 hours. And remember the 3 tweakers I said? They run into our room. Rebel's dead sleep. He's high as fuck. Rebel is like so high. He passed out from smoking hella blunts. And we're just sitting there. I'm high as fuck too, but I'm awake. And these 3 tweakers rummage up into the room like, hey, bro, Robert or Connor sent Hell's Angels after us, bro. Connor sent Hell's Angels after us, bro. We gotta go. And they came in a U-Haul, keep in mind. And it's one of those U-Hauls, you know, that like they have the driving part, and then it's like a truck that has a door in the back that shuts. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like yeah. So fucking. They're loading us in the back of U-Hauls, bro. In the back of the U-Haul. They're loading all of us up like we're like they're trying to smuggle us somewhere. And I shit
bro,
you
you got
not.
kidnapped.
I shit you not. There is like 15 people in the back of that U-Haul. Sorry, I had to remember. 15 motherfuckers in the back of that. It was so fucking hot. And so the whole time we were thinking we were being chased by Hell's Angels, and the tweakers are driving this shit, and they're driving hella fast, and we're sitting in the back of the U-Haul terrified because we don't know what the fuck's about to happen. And because Hell's Angels, they don't give a fuck, bro. Like bro, we were scared for our lives. And we were sitting there in the back of the fucking U-Haul for at least 2 hours before we could get our first break and get the fuck out. It was burning hot in there. There's 15 people breathing.
Oh yeah.
And plus part of the floor is already steaming hot because of the engine and like the pipes underneath and shit. Like half the floor. And it's just it's bad. When we finally get our first break, they stop at a gas station and we get out. And we're so confused because like if we're being chased by HA, wouldn't we have been caught by now? Like, bro, a U-Haul versus bikes, like, bro. But we get out, and the 2 tweakers that are telling us that we're being chased by HA, they come out and they're like, hey, you see that car that's parked right over there? It was a car parked in the parking lot over from the gas station. It's pointing at an empty fucking car, bro. He's pointing at an empty car with no one in it. I even double span my shit because I know people are like to like lean back and like make it look like that. I saw both the seats up. I saw no one was in the car, and they're pointing at like 3 different cars saying, "Those are HA. They're lurking on us. They're lurking on us." I was like, if that was HA, they wouldn't be lurking on us. They would just come up on us. They don't care. Yeah. Like that's how that shit works. We know because we have family in this shit. But fucking, bro, we're sitting there thinking we're being chased by Hell's Angels. Then we start getting suspicions. We're like, okay, bro, these fuckers are tweaking bad. If they're thinking that those are all, what if we're not actually? So we try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Then we get off at the next gas station an hour later, and they start saying something that the cars parked at the pumps, people pumping their gas or HA. Like those two people that were pumping their gas, they're HA, bro. They're lurking on us. They're not really pumping gas. I was like, they wouldn't be in cars. First of all,
They'd be in, if anything, it would be a van or bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, bro,
Your AJ, you have to be on. You have to wear your cut, and you have to be on a bike.
it was some weird shit. So then we're like, okay, and we were like, bro, they're tweaking. I think that we're not actually being chased by HA, and so we're still continue. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. We're in the back of this U-Haul for like 18 hours at this point, straight 18 fucking hours, bro. And we're sitting in the back of this U-Haul. They keep stopping at a gas station every 2 hours, every hour. And then it got down to every 30 minutes they stop at a gas station. It was like some tweaky shit. And I was like, okay. And then we just knew for a fact everything was going on. Something was going on. And then there's my ex-mother-in-law, Teresa, in the back, along with Sloth. He's in the back. And he's banging on the shit, telling him it's so hot in there. And so you know how the doors on the, or actually, yeah, you know how the doors on the U-Haul, like they're like panels, they're like panel.
Yeah, like a garage.
Like rectangles, yeah. You know you could pop them out one by one.
Yeah, you told me.
Bro, this sloth fucker grabbed the fucking, we brought the pickaxe with us, by the way. Grabbed the pickaxe and just started boom, 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 boom. And then one panel pop, like pops down and it flaps. And we got wind coming in finally. And then he cracks a hole in the ceiling, the aluminum ceiling of the U-Haul. He breaks a whole hole through that shit with the pickaxe. And then we're like, hey, I think that's enough. And he looks at us and he goes, no, I want more. And they were like, oh, okay. And then he just starts fucking bashing it in. And then the drivers stop, the other tweakers, because they think that we're like banging and telling them to stop at a gas station or something again. And we're just trying to get air. And then they start hitting this dab pen that has meth in it with all of us in there. And I'm just like this, because I don't do that shit. I'm never in my life, and I don't ever want to. I've gotten laced with it once, but I don't like that shit. What's it called? And then he's like, we need another panel down. And he just starts bashing another panel in on the highway while we're driving, and it flaps down. And then me and Rebel were just smoking cigarettes like, the fuck? These fuckers are tweaking. And at this point, we're just kind of enjoying it. And then Teresa looks at Rebel and is like, Rebel, if you could do this again, would you? He's like, yeah, I'm having some fun. Bro, it was hella funny. And then we stopped at a park for like 20 minutes so we get air, we get to go to the bathroom, all that shit. We get back in, we're back on the highway, and at this point it's been like 22 hours, and we feel like we're being smuggled to a different country, bro. That's what this shit felt like.
What the fuck are you driving to?
They took us from Modesto all the way to like Sac or some shit, and it took 22 hours to do that and back. Yeah, that's how you know we were tweaking
Tweaker
bad.
time.
Yeah, tweaker time. So we were sitting there in the back of the U-Haul on the highway again, back on the way to Modesto. Then we're finally going back home, boys. The two panels are down, and we kept it at that. Me and Rebel get this bright idea. Let's smile at the cars behind us while we're full speed on the highway. We're just in the back of a U-Haul at people, just staring at them. You know that's a bad choice. We're just staring at people, just smiling at them, bro. Just fucking, yeah. And then there's a bunch of cars just driving. We're like, what the fuck? And there's these two kids, two people in the back of the U-Haul. Rebel had his big ass septum at the time. He had a 2 gauge and then long ass hair. So we just looked like full on tweakers, just like, yeah. And then we seen a cop, a state police parked on the side of the road of the highway as we're doing this, and he pulls out, he goes, woo, woo, and then the sirens come on, and then he passes us. He passed by us. I don't know how he didn't see two of our heads just like, yeah, up the damn U-Haul on the highway going 80 miles an hour. But that was some shit. And we get back home and we're finally back. Me and Rebel, bro, we were just like so condensed being up in there for that long. And Rebel got woken up out of mid sleep, bro. Like he was going to sleep for the night and he got woken up. And we get back, bro. And you know what? We took a bowl and then smoked a blunt, went to sleep. And the next day was a snazzy day. And yeah, that's the story time about how me and Rebel thought we were about to die.
Yeah.
And that's chop o'clock story times for you. But if you guys enjoyed this, I know I did a lot of uhs and fucks and all that shit, and like did a lot of pauses because I'm not really used to telling story times like on stream. It's kind of new for me, so I know I'm all like off the side looking around and shit. If fucking I'm not used to telling story times on the stream, so I'm just kind of new. But if y'all enjoyed it, let me know and I'll do more of these because I got a lot of crazy stories. Trust me, this motherfucker can vouch for me. I got a lot of fucked up stories. So if y'all enjoy this shit, give this shit a like and comment down below. And with that, I'm gonna end it off with another each up. Cheers. Have a snazzy day, guys. Stay chopped.